Hello, my friends. 2025 has begun, and there are tons of great games headed our way. I wanted to look at the top 25 that I can't wait to play in 2025. Okay, I love doing this every year. I like to kind of look ahead and get into my crystal ball here for a second and take a look at 25 titles that I am super stoked for to play in 2025. Sometimes I like to mix it up with movies and games in the same list, but I'll tell you what, there are so many great games coming out this year. I made it just about games this time. And I actually added an extra one. 26 is Mouse P.I. for Hire. This game looks really freaking cool. It's a black and white detective game. You play a cartoon mouse. It's certainly taking some cues from Cuphead, but I don't mind that at all. This game looks like it's going to be a ridiculous amount of fun, and I love the aesthetics. That's why it's number 26 on my top 25 for 2025. Number 25 is Claire Obscure Expedition 33, which I don't know a whole bunch about, but it certainly looks really freaking cool. It's an action role-playing game. It looks like it's been made with a great level of maturity and a lot of cool nuance with the characterizations and the environments that we're going to go and explore. I can't wait to dive into Claire Obscure Expedition 33. Tough title to remember, though, I gotta tell you that. Number 24 is Borderlands 4, and yes, it looks like it's another serving of something that is quite familiar for all of us, and I certainly didn't enjoy that Borderlands movie last year. Whew, what a stinker. But I do like the universe, and I do like some of the new additions. The mobility in this game looks quite exciting, and I hope that the team elevates on what they did with Borderlands 3, which I thought was okay, but I am a huge fan of Borderlands 1 and 2, and the pre-sequel. This is a great franchise, and I hope it returns to form with Borderlands 4. Number 23 on my list is Fatal Fury City of the Wolves. I'm a big fan of SNK fighters. I like their crazy characters. Don't ask me to name any of these characters. The universe in SNK land is very big, but the combat looks super dynamic, super cool. It's certainly taking some pages from what Capcom has been doing with the Street Fighter franchise, but I don't mind. I like the art direction. I like the ability to tag in with these different characters, and the combat looks ridiculously addictive. Can't wait for Fatal Fury City of the Wolves. Number 22 on my list is Civilization 7, and of course this is an ever-present franchise. New editions keep coming out every few years. I don't know how much Civ 7 is going to differentiate itself from previous Civ titles. The art looks really cool. Of course, it's got sumptuous music. I think it's all about that addictive, strategic gameplay where you're using diplomacy and you're using your wits to try to get along with people or trounce them. And there is this addictive, can't pull away from the computer vibe with all of these Civ games. But this title is coming to multiple platforms. Curious to see how it handles on consoles, but I am excited to get my hands on Civ 7. Number 21 on my list is Death Stranding 2 on the Beach. Kojima and his company have put together something absolutely stunningly beautiful. It makes me scratch my head. I don't know exactly where they're going. I didn't know where they were going with Death Stranding 1, which I had kind of a love-hate type relationship, but now I think I love it. I think I love Death Stranding, and I think back on it very fondly, and I've also enjoyed the director's editions and things like that have come out since then, and the studio must have learned so much through the process of bringing us the first Death Stranding. I can't wait to see how that's applied in the sequel, which looks ridiculously good. Number 20 on my list of the top 25 games I can't wait to play in 2025 is The Alters, and this is a game that was supposed to come out last year. It's about this miner who is living on this dangerous planet, and he's got to create alternate versions of himself to survive in the hostile world that he's in, and it just looks freaking cool. It looks super smart. It reminds me of Duncan Jones' Moon for some reason. You know, it's got that kind of intelligence about it, and it looks like it's going to be incredibly addictive. So cool. I'm glad the developers took the time to keep tweaking it and tuning it and pushed it back into 2025. I think it's going to be a big success this year. Number 19 is Light No Fire from Hello Games, and obviously this is the company that has learned a tremendous amount from No Man's Sky, and this game is a little bit more contained, but it's still incredibly incredibly ambitious. You can basically do all kinds of different things. It's a survival game, it's a fantasy game, it's got some sci-fi elements to it, and you are trying to survive on this huge, huge planet the size of Earth. It looks gorgeous, and it looks like it's going to have a lot of really fantastic details. I don't know how much of it is procedurally generated, but man, it looks like an incredible piece of work. I cannot wait to play Light No Fire. Number 18 is Assassin's Creed Shadows, which I am psyched for, and I know it's been a bit of a controversial title as it has been announced and people have dug into the historical figures and the authenticity, but man, it just looks like a fun-ass game to play. Ubisoft has delayed the game a little bit, so it's coming out in March now, but it looks tight. Parkour looks super fun. It looks like getting into combat is going to kick ass. I'm psyched to play as the two characters in Assassin's Creed Shadows. I hope it's awesome. Number 17 is Mafia The Old Country. I like these Mafia games very much, especially the first two. They were awesome. Mafia 3 is pretty cool too, but this one's going back in time to the early 1900s, and it's based in Italy, so we're seeing the early days of this mafioso family, and we're getting into all kinds of conflict with more primitive technologies, but I think there's something super cool with the way that the stories are put together. Obviously, this franchise has cut its own path, distinct from Grand Theft Auto, and been much more of a story-focused experience, and so far incredibly successful with this franchise. I still remember the first Mafia game absolutely blowing my mind about how beautiful it was and how thoughtful and creative the storytelling was. So I hope that this one lives up to that, and it certainly looks like it might. Number 16 on my list for the games that I'm most hyped for that I know about in 2025 is Monster Hunter Wilds, which is coming up pretty quick. Capcom has got an incredibly ambitious open-world Monster Hunter game. This franchise has been so successful recently, and it's allowed Capcom to get much more ambitious with its design and its kind of focus on gameplay and how gameplay systems will interact with each other and will go from one sequence to another. Incredibly robust idea about being able to outfit your character in a million different ways and go off and hunt down all of these crazy monsters, tame some of them, ally yourself with other people, get into some multiplayer battles with some of these big beasts with incredible visual effects and absolutely gorgeous flourishes. I think this game is going to wow us like crazy when it comes out. Number 15 on my list is a game that was in my list for last year, but it didn't come out. It's called Replaced, and this is being developed by a very small team. Might just be one or two people, but it looks really cool. It's got another world kind of flashback vibe to it. Looks like rotoscoped animation, and it's certainly heavily influenced by movies like The Batman and Blade Runner. I love the aesthetic, this pixelated art style, and the mechanics of the character. It's about a cyborg human that wakes up in his reality and has to fight for his life and run and get into all kinds of conflict and stuff as it's trying to just find its way in this very dangerous world. Looks freaking cool, and I hope all of this extra time to tune it really pays off. I hope this game is as beautiful and as fun to play as it looks in the trailers. Number 14 on my list is a game that was just showed off at the Game Awards. It's called Splitfix from Hazelight Studios. It's another one of these co-op action-adventure titles, and it looks like a ton of fun. I can't wait to play this with my kid. I hope she's into it, but the idea of jumping into a sci-fi theme and also a fantasy theme, it looks very much in keeping with the great work that was done with It Takes Two, where there's a lot of different gameplay styles, a lot of different kind of genres mashed together, but I'm all about it. It looks super tuned, super fun, and so much good work was in It Takes Two, which won the Game Award when it was released that year, that I'm sure a lot of that knowledge and passion is going to carry over into Splitfix. Can't wait. Number 13 on my list is Avowed from Obsidian Entertainment, which is also coming up in the not-too-distant future. This game has looked good all the way along, but certainly it's been tuned and tweaked as the developers have been able to optimize everything, and it looks freaking cool. Obviously, this is kind of leafing through pages of stuff that Obsidian has worked on before. It's an open-world game with some overtones that remind us of the Elder Scrolls franchise, but in Obsidian's own way. I think there's going to be a good sense of humor and a lot of really intricate and cool mechanics that are all intermingled. You're going to be able to build and customize characters and try to use your magic and all your powers and your might to survive these hostile environments. Looks freaking cool. Can't wait for Avowed. Number 12 on my list is Metal Gear Solid Delta, and I was back and forth about putting this on my list because I love Metal Gear Solid 3, and I didn't really feel like it needed a remake, but now it just looks so freaking gorgeous. I can't wait to play this again. I'm really happy that David Hayter is definitely back in the saddle as Snake, and I can't wait to see all of these incredible bosses again. These are some of the most memorable and enjoyable boss fights I've ever played, and to see them in this fidelity, and hopefully the mechanics are even a little bit more modernized and smoothed over, so it's gonna feel really good on the sticks as well. But I'm psyched to play Metal Gear Solid Delta. It looks amazing. Another game that looks amazing, and it's number 11 on my list, is South of Midnight. And this is a beautiful title that Compulsion Games is making, Xbox is publishing. It's got a really trippy art and animation style to it. It reminds me a little bit of the Spider-Verse movies, actually. It looks like it's got some stop motion kind of vibes to it, like frames are missing, but it's very cinematic and very over the top with really cool creatures. Just this awesome kind of voodoo vibe about everything as well. I cannot wait to get lost in South of Midnight. I think this is going to be one of the sleeper hits of the year. Something that definitely will not be a sleeper hit of the year is Doom: The Dark Ages. This game comes out loud. The music is going to be incredible in this thing. The action, the animations of being able to use your shield and hook characters in and just destroy them in this game looks ridiculously fun. It's obviously much more up close and personal with some medieval type damage that's dealt in this title, but God, it looks so freaking good. I think this game is going to put a lot of smiles on a lot of faces out there. Doom: The Dark Ages is definitely becoming an obsession of mine. I'm counting the days. I'm also incredibly psyched for Fable. This is being developed by Playground Games, who usually makes us the Forza Horizon titles, and they're pivoting and going in a totally different direction, but they're incredible developers, and I'm certain that many ex-Lionhead people must be involved here. And it looks big, it looks ambitious, it looks beautiful, but it also looks like it's going to be super funny and super charming, which was a big part of the original Fable franchise. I am liking the casting decisions. I'm liking the self-awareness of the way they put all the trailers and stuff together, and it just looks like it's going to be a blast. Can't wait to see how Fable comes together, but I think it's going to be amazing. Number 8 on my list, and it's underlying how big of a year Xbox is about to have, and we don't know for sure some of these release dates, by the way. I should qualify that, but Gears of War E-Day had an incredible unveiling at the Xbox Showcase last year, and man, it just looks like a return to form. It looks like it's going back into a little bit more of the early days, the survival horror kind of aspects of Gears, a lot more of that destroyed beauty and that grittiness with characters that we know. It's a prequel, and so it's going to set up a lot of, I think, a revitalized Gears franchise. Not that the previous couple of Gears games have been bad or anything like that, but they've certainly been creative pivots into new directions with new characters and new generations. So it's awesome that we're sort of rebooting everything and going back to the basics here, and it looks out of this world. It just looks absolutely sensational. I'm super proud of the Coalition, which is a Vancouver-based studio, that they're putting together such a beautiful game, and I'm hoping I get to go and visit those guys this year. Number 7 on my list is Judas. This is being headed up by Ken Levine, who brought us BioShock, and it looks like it's a little bit of a BioShock in space kind of vibe. I only know from what I've seen from the trailers, but it looks like it's going to be an incredibly mature and twisted tale, and there's going to be cool technologies and cool abilities, but unbelievably well thought out storytelling as well, which is Ken Levine's signature. I'm absolutely blown away by what I've seen of Judas, and you know I'm dying to get my hands on it. Another game I can't wait to play, and I'm not sure if it's going to be coming out this year, but I'm putting it on my list anyways, is Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra. This is Amy Hennig's new title, working with Skydance and with Marvel to put together something that's very story-based, an action-adventure title utilizing Captain America and Black Panther and the Howling Commandos. So we're going to be taking on Hydra's soldiers, but I'm sure we're going to be kicking some Nazi ass as well, which I'm fired up to do. It's going to be cool to see how Cap and Black Panther kind of work together. And this isn't T'Challa, of course. This is his grandfather, Azuri, and it's going to be cool to see him fighting alongside Cap and taking on all of these villains. I am so fired up for Marvel 1943. And we're in the final 5 now. Number 5 for me is Ghost of Yotai. Sucker Punch is back at it in feudal Japan. This one takes place 300 years after Ghost of Tsushima, and you play a new character named Atsu, but it looks like there's still a whole bunch of revenge to dole out. and lots of people are gonna get sliced the hell up. And man, Ghost of Tsushima is one of my favorite PlayStation games of all time. I am so psyched. Sucker Punch is such a beautiful, incredible developer. I cannot wait to see what they do with Ghost of Yotai. Number 4 on my list, and once again, I've got my fingers crossed that this will come out this year. It's Wolverine from Insomniac Games. What an amazing team. Those Spider-Man titles will never leave my PlayStation 5. Now they're on the Pro. They're never leaving the hard drive. I can't wait to embellish them with the Wolverine title. I really hope it comes out this year, and I also hope that it feels and plays much different from the Spider-Man games. I'm super excited to wreak some havoc as Logan and slice and dice. I hope it's a little bit more mature. I hope it's a little bit more bloody, and I know that it's going to be crazy amounts of fun. Number 3 on my list is Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. Tell me you weren't blown away by the trailer when Nintendo finally showed us footage of this game. I think it's going to be a cross-generation title with the original Switch as well as Switch 2, and I'm psyched to see what the enhancements on Switch 2 could mean for us. It looks insane. I was so blown away by how Metroid Prime stood the test of time when Nintendo shadow dropped that title, and I cannot wait to see how all of this embellishment, all of this labor, all of this time has infused Metroid Prime 4 to be something really special. I think it's going to be one of the best titles of the year. But the game that I think is going to be the best title of the year, and I don't know for sure that it will come out this year, but I'm sure you're all feeling the same thing, is Grand Theft Auto 6, which is number 2 on my list. Psyched to see the multi-character narrative come together. Psyched to see the level of satire that Rockstar has put into Grand Theft Auto 6. Obviously, the trailers all show us all kinds of social media footage, which is kind of hilarious and very on the nose, and I think the game is going to look stunning. They've probably spent more on this game than any in recent memory. I mean, there's rumors out there that they've spent like $2 billion to make Grand Theft Auto 6, and it's probably going to make all of that money back in its first day. And Rockstar is just waiting for the right time to announce it and the right time to say, yes, it's definitely coming out. And when it does, it's going to stop the world's traffic. It's going to be such a huge, huge smash. And you're probably wondering why Grand Theft Auto 6 isn't number 1 on my list, and that is because I reserved the top spot for whatever Nintendo's got cooking with Nintendo Switch 2, which we know is coming out this year. And it's not only going to be cool new hardware for us to tinker with and play, but it's also going to be a whole bunch of brand new titles. And if you can recall back to what Nintendo did on the Switch in 2017 with titles like Breath of the Wild and Super Mario Odyssey and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, how they just blew us away with their software lineup tied with the launch of the original Switch. And I believe that that's been a big reason why we've been waiting so long for the announcement of the Nintendo Switch 2, is that Nintendo wanted to shore up a whole bunch of killer games. And I cannot freaking wait to find out what those games are going to be. So that's my list of 25 games that I cannot wait to play in 2025. Hopefully they all come out this year. We shall see. I really want to know what you guys are psyched for. What games did I miss? What didn't I hit on? I know there's tons of unknowns out there, and there's lots of speculation that a lot of stuff is going to shift over into 2026, but I think this is shaping up to be one of, if not the best year that games have ever seen. Thanks for watching, everybody. We will see you soon, and until then, play forever.